What's up guys, Dave Moss Jr. here, and if you can hear it in my voice, I've been fighting off this cold for about the past 4 days, which is weird for me because I never get sick. And it led me down the rabbit hole. I cold plunge every day, sometimes multiple times per day, so getting sick for me is really rare. But when I do get sick, I never really know if I should continue to cold plunge while I'm sick or if I should give myself a break. And if you go online and Google it, you're gonna see a lot of gray area. Nobody says yes, nobody says no. And no, I'm not a doctor, this is not gonna be medical advice, but I did a ton of research because I wanted to give you the information so you can decide if it's something you should do. Is cold plunging while you're sick safe or is it bad? Let's dig in. Now, as you probably know, cold plunging has gained so much popularity lately for its benefits like boosting circulation, reducing inflammation, and promoting mental clarity. But it's important for us to know what cold plunging might actually do to somebody who has the common cold. And with an abundance of information out there on the internet, I wanted to make something that can actually help people who have a cold decide if it's something they should do or not. Now, it's important to know that having a cold and having a fever and having a flu, and there's a lot of different sicknesses. So we're gonna talk about having a common cold. It's important to know that you have to listen to your body. And I would encourage you, from all the research that I've done, if your body is fighting a fever, it's probably not a good idea to get into a cold plunge. You don't want to add additional stress to your body when it's already fighting off a fever. And everybody's pretty clear on if you have a fever, it is not a good idea to get into a cold plunge. And it's also super important for you to listen to your body. If you're feeling like death, don't go stress your body out, because when you get into cold water, you are stressing your body out. Don't go add additional stress to your body when it's already fighting something off. And one more important thing before we dive in is everybody's pretty clear on the fact that if you cold plunge daily, that's when you have a massive increase in immune system function. That's when you have a massive decrease in sick days. It's pretty cool to see. But if you want to get yourself a cold plunge that you can use on the daily, an affordable cold plunge at that, the Desert Plunge behind me is a great option, and I'll have a link down in the description below with a discount code for you to use. Now let's jump in. First thing we're gonna talk about is the potential benefits of cold plunging while you have a cold. We're gonna talk about the benefit, how it works, and then the possible effects on the cold. And we're gonna start with number one, which is immune system activation. Here's how it works. Cold exposure can stimulate the production of white blood cells and certain immune boosting proteins such as cytokines. The activation of these immune components can actually enhance the body's ability to fight infections. Studies have shown that regular cold water exposure may improve the body's resilience to infections. But this is more about long-term cold water therapy rather than an immediate immune boost that you're gonna get from one cold plunge while you're sick. And here's the effects on a cold. If practiced consistently, cold plunges might help the immune system fend off illnesses way more effectively. However, during a cold, it's way less clear because your body's already in an immune activated state. Potential benefit number two. A lot of people love this one, reduced inflammation. And here's how it works. Cold plunging constricts the blood vessels, which can reduce swelling and inflammation. This is why cold plunging is regularly used for injuries like sprains. And by reducing inflammation, cold plunging can actually help alleviate some of the discomforts of a cold, like sinus pressure and body aches. That's actually one thing I notice when I do feel sick or congested. When I get into a cold plunge, my sinus pressure almost immediately goes away. So that's a thing that I've noticed for sure. But here's the effects on a cold. For minor cold symptoms, reduced inflammation might actually help relieve muscle soreness and sinus congestion, potentially providing temporary relief, which always feels nice. However, this effect doesn't necessarily mean that the inside of your body is healing faster from the viral problems. However, this effect is superficial and doesn't necessarily help with the internal processes of recovery. And then potential benefit number three, improved mood and energy, which when you're fighting a cold, we all love. And here's how it works. Cold exposure triggers the release of endorphins, which are the body's natural feel-good chemicals. You know what I'm talking about. And norepinephrine, which can boost your mood, your focus, and your alertness. So this hormone release can lead to an instant feeling of rejuvenation, energy, which may be something we all could use when we're feeling a little groggy from that cold. But here's the effects on a cold. The energy and mood boost that you get might help combat fatigue, grogginess, providing some short-term relief from the cold symptoms, but this doesn't necessarily mean we're healing faster. It's kind of just masking the symptoms temporarily, but it feels good. Let's talk about the three potential risks. Number one, and this is a big one, added stress on the immune system. Cold exposure is great, but it's a type of hormetic stress, meaning it challenges the body in a way that makes it stronger over time. But during a cold or illness, your body's already under stress as it's fighting off a virus. So adding the extra load of cold exposure might actually divert some of the resources away from fighting off your cold. And if your immune system is already taxed from fighting off a cold, the cold plunge could actually suppress the immune response and prolong the recovery. It's like the stress from cold water therapy could actually exacerbate the existing fatigue and weaken your body's defense mechanisms in the short term. Number two, it could actually worsen your symptoms. Cold exposure can actually trigger a stress response in your body, leading to the release of cortisol, a stress hormone. And while cortisol can be anti-inflammatory, excessive stress from cold plunging can also depress immune function, especially if your body's already struggling with a cold. So basically, prolonged cold exposure while you have a cold could actually aggravate symptoms like fatigue, chills, or muscle aches. And if you've ever cold plunged while you're sick, you know that you get the chills so much faster than a regular cold plunge. I know I do. And that might actually make you feel worse than better. And then lastly, number three, increased cold sensitivity. When you're sick, your body's temperature regulation is often impaired. And cold plunging causes vasoconstriction, which actually narrows those blood vessels to conserve heat. Basically, your body doesn't want you to freeze, so it conserves heat in your core. However, during a cold, this can actually increase feelings of being cold, especially if you're dealing with fever or chills. So if your body temperature is already fluctuating while it's trying to fight off this illness, cold plunging could actually intensify your chills and make it even harder for your body to warm up after the cold plunge, which this could make you feel a little worse overall. So here's my final thoughts. Cold plunging can and sure is a powerful tool for general health and well-being. I know it's changed my life, and I know it's changed many others' lives as well. But its effects during a sickness are often really nuanced. While there are potential benefits, such as reduced inflammation and that immune boost, the risk, including the added stress on the immune system and potentially the worsening of your symptoms, may outweigh these benefits when you're dealing with a common cold. So my advice, and this isn't medical advice, but my advice is to probably stay away from the cold water therapy while you're sick, which has been really tough for me. I've been fighting something off for the past 4 days, and though I have gotten in my cold plunges every single day, I definitely don't feel like it's helped me. And that's why I really dove deep down the rabbit hole of trying to figure out what are the potential risks, but what are the potential benefits, and do the benefits outweigh the risk? In my conclusion, I'm probably not gonna be cold plunging when I'm sick. Right now I'm feeling better. I feel like my immune system is stronger, and I do feel like when I do get sick on those really random occasions, they only last a couple days, and I'm usually feeling much better, much faster than I was before I ever knew a thing about cold water therapy. So I hope this video was somewhat helpful for you. If you're new to cold plunging and you'd like a couple more resources for you, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, like this video, and go to my playlist on cold water therapy. I have a lot of different information, from how to keep your cold plunges clean to guided cold plunges, a bunch of really cool stuff, and I'd love for you to check that out. And like I said at the beginning of this video, if you want to get yourself a great cold plunge, the Desert Plunge is a great cold plunge, and I can highly recommend it. The team is great, and the product has not let me down. So I will have a link and a discount code down in the description below for you to check out. But at the end of the day, guys, I appreciate you for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Have a great day, and God bless. And hey, before you go, actually, I'd love for you to check out my full review on the Desert Plunge. This is their new 450. It's the wide. This is a great cold plunge. My whole family can fit inside this thing. It's massive. So check that video out. It's gonna pop up right here. I think you really like it. Man, I'm starting to feel better. Mind over matter. It's time to get cold.